Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another movie review. This time we're going to be talking about We Are What We Are, which is a horror film directed by Jim Mickle that came out back in 2013. And it starred Bill Sage along with Julia Garner, Ambyr Childers, and Kelly McGills, as well as the unfortunately late Michael Parks. So this is one I watched just a couple nights ago, actually, and if you guys watched my my review of the movie called The Pack, you know I wasn't really too pleased with that one. And I had heard really good things about this film, so I went into it hoping it would make up for my time spent with that previous one I had watched. and it did, you know, this is definitely a good movie. Like I said, it was directed by Jim Mickle, who also directed the first Stakeland movie. You guys know how much I loved the first Stakeland movie. And it was also written by him, as well as Nick Damici, or Nick Damici, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, who I'm also a huge fan of. You know, he was, of course, the main star in the Stakeland movies, as well as he had a hand in, you know, writing as well. So this is another, you know, kind of collaboration of Jim Mickle and Nick Damici, really. And I gotta say, along with the first Stakeland movie, this is probably my favorite one of theirs thus far, anyway. I'm gonna briefly explain to you what the plot is. I'll let you look at the cover of the DVD I have here while I read. The Parkers, a seemingly wholesome, benevolent family, keep to themselves and for good reason. As they struggle to keep their ancestral customs intact, local authorities begin to uncover clues that bring them closer to the secret that they have held closely for so many years. So yeah, it's a cannibal movie basically. But I was really surprised by, or at least the most pleased with in this movie, was how it was presented. You know, because you have your, you know, like your Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. You know, where you have like a teen or like a group of teens, they happen to get stranded or stuck in this situation, and then that's how you meet the family, and they end up getting either like picked off or tortured and things like that. That's not how they go about it with this movie. We see it from the perspective of the family. It starts off with the matriarch, or the wife and mother of the family dies. You know, she dies in this little, you know, when there's this storm and everything, this flood. And I'll touch more on that in a second, just the mood this movie creates. But a lot of it is from the perspective of the family. And Michael Parks' character, really, but we'll talk more about him in a few minutes as well. You know, with Bill Sage's character, you know, the father, of course, you know, Frank Parker. You know, we see, like, in these little flashbacks here and there throughout the movie that sort of tied back to these harsh times during the war, and as well as, you know, this, you know, their ancestors living through the harsh winters and stuff like that. And you've heard stories before about how people were, like, once pushed, you know, to resort to cannibalism because of situations like that. And we still don't know, like, everything, like, every single reasoning behind you know, why Frank is so committed to raising his family this way, but it's tied to, you know, that history and some of their you know, religious upbringings and stuff like that. And sometimes people can follow those really closely, and even the daughters, even though they know that this isn't right and they're not really very comfortable with it, they for some reason still end up following it in the end, in a way. So you do get to semi-understand where they're coming from. You kind of feel like they're more human than, like I said, like your Texas Chainsaw Massacre characters. So I like that. The acting all around is really good. Like I said, Bill Sage, he does a good job. It makes me want to see more of his work now, actually. I got him to like my tweet on Twitter about it, so that's cool. You know, as well as Jim Mickle and Nick Damici. Damici, I should say. Again, I'm awful with names. And when it comes to Michael Parks' character, I wish I had seen more of his work by now. You know, he sort of reminds me of like a John Hurt. You know, we lost him recently as well, unfortunately. These past 2 years have been awful when it comes to celebrity deaths. He reminds me of like a John Hurt and David Bradley. And he does a good job in this movie. He's this doctor, of some sort in the town, and he had lost his daughter like some 15, 20 years ago, doesn't know what happened to her. And he's the one who starts to begin having suspicions about, the cannibalism. He's looking into the cause of death of the wife and everything. And it turns out Frank, as well as his daughters, are suffering from this disease that eventually builds up, if they've stuck to a diet of cannibalism for so long. So I thought actually showing it that way is pretty interesting, but they all seem kind of sickly and sort of just there, Yeah, they're supposed to be creepy, this kind of adds to it. They're pale, you can just tell like the way their skin is and everything, the way they move. So I thought that part was pretty interesting too, and it made me want to root for Michael Parks. And the daughters, like I said, they do kind of want to get out of it, like the main daughter, Iris, I think her name is. Yeah, Iris. She has this love interest, this guy who's turns out to be like a member of the police department and everything. Nick Damici, he plays the sheriff, but we don't see much of him in the movie. But she falls, she has this guy she's interested in, and Frank ends up just, stabbing with like I think it was like a pitchfork or something through the head. Just because he's so hell-bent on, keeping them restrained to, what practice they're following. So I thought that part was pretty good, and it is a slow burn, sort of slow building type of horror film, and some people won't like that. Like I said, I keep bringing up Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's not a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It's slow burn. They really focus on creating like this atmosphere and tone about it, and with that it does really succeed. It has a great atmosphere to it, really has this moody, almost gothic type of feel. It has this perfect like grim sort of gloomy atmosphere and everything like that, and that could be one of my favorite things about it, besides Bill Sage's performance. And the ending is, fairly surprising. Of course, Michael Parks gets closer and closer to knowing for sure he finds these bones out in the river and everything like that. And eventually it does break down, where he actually goes to the Parker's house and confronts them. Frank and Michael Parks' character end up shooting each other, sorta. Gets Michael Parks' shoulder, and Frank hits his head on the corner and everything. Frank is able to recover though, and knocks Michael Parks out with a frying pan. And this is one of his daughters. They've been wanting to kind of break away and run away for a while, and they kind of make their move here. They go to a neighbor's house, Marge, I think her name was. Marge, played by Kelly McGillis, who also had a role in the Stakeland movie, which is cool. But Frank kills her, in some pretty brutal and pretty specific ways. With the way he moves and everything, you can really see what kind of killer he is in that, sort of last, sequence there. But they actually end up, stabbing Frank, in the hand and pinning him down, and actually, feasting on him until he bleeds out and dies. And I was kind of surprised by that ending. It was kind of oddly fitting for that to happen, if his daughters were going to get rid of him. But again, it's kind of symbolizing that for some reason they're going to be carrying out what Frank raised him into. So that was a brutal ending. They eat him right in front of Michael Parks' character, Dr. Barrow. But they actually don't kill Dr. Barrow, Michael Parks, which is good. And they give him his daughter's hair pinned back and everything. So, happy ending, I guess. I don't know. It's definitely not the ending I expected. In a way, I kind of wish we would have got to see more from Frank's perspective in particular, though. But he did feel more like a real person and not just like this psychotic, villain of the movie. So I really appreciated that. Like I said, the atmosphere, probably my favorite part of the movie. And I just think it was a pretty good horror film. If I had to rate it, I'd rate it within the range of about a B+. I definitely liked it. It was a little bit slow, but I'm fine with that. With them choosing to create suspense and atmosphere. I think they did a good job with that. Like I said, I think they could have gone into Frank a little bit more in particular, but that's their choice whether to or not. And there's not much else wrong with the movie, really. It was think it was a decent runtime as well. It was like 105 minutes, so like an hour and 45 minutes basically. So fine runtime. It didn't feel like overly long or anything like that. And like I said, even though I can't really find much wrong with the movie, I still rate movies based on like criticism and just personal enjoyment. And I think if I watched it again, maybe I could appreciate it more. Maybe it'd be more of like a sure B+. But right now it's about a B+. I just have to kind of think about it a little bit more, but still want to get my review out there. So let me guys thought about We Are What We Are if you've seen it. And by the way, the actresses who played the daughters did a very good job as well. They're kind of, in a way, our protagonists in the movie besides Michael Park's character. They did well. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought. If you've seen it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.